Good morning. It's April 10th, a Friday, and I'm going to continue my video series on Hocking Hills. Today we're at Old Man's Cave, and as I go down there, I'll use both cameras. I'll use the GoPro, which is on right now, and I'll use the Pocket 2 with the microphone today. I didn't use it the other day, but today we'll use it and see how it does with the waterfall sounds in the background and all. And once again, we have a warning that it's a cliff area, and this is the start of the trail entrance. It's one way, just like most of the trails here in Hocking Hills. So we start down a little walkway, and right away we see the beauty of a waterfall, and that's going to feed the rest of the trail. It's just after dawn. It's about 7:10, so I kind of wanted to see what the light was with the photos and video this early in the morning. Another thing about being this early in the morning, and down here you can see where we're going on the trail. This is the upper falls that we're above right now, and we'll see it a little better when we get down there. And here you can see the water cascading down to the upper falls. This Old Man's Cave trail, you'll see at the bottom when we get to the lower falls that it can continue on to the Whispering Cave trail. I have a video of that too. The video is not of good quality, but if you want to go over there and look at that, you can. And we have some mud through here. Didn't bring my walking stick. I didn't want to keep laying it down to use the Pocket 2 today, and it's been dry most this week in the area, so it shouldn't be too bad. Down there you can see the upper waterfalls, and we'll get down there to see it a little bit better. So you can do an upper trail here that goes along the ridge, but we're doing the lower trail. I don't know if I said this, but it's about 40 degrees right now. It's supposed to get in the upper 70s today, but a little chilly, so it's jacket weather right now. Very pretty. Okay, I have the Pocket 2 out now, and a little story I would like to tell you. So Mary Karen and I were dating for about 3 or 4 months, and then it was Christmas time, and I decided to get her some gifts for Christmas. So I got her a sweater and a necklace, and then I got her a picture of this falls right here. My roommate Aaron and I came down from Capital University, which is about 50 to 60 miles away from here, and took some pictures. Aaron had a degree from Columbus State before he went to Capital on photography, and we developed this picture in the lab at Capital, and I gave this picture to Mary Catherine. So the interesting thing about that story is not the picture, or the humorous thing, is that as I was leaving, and she lived in Ironton, I lived in Jackson, about an hour drive, I professed my love on the porch tour, and all I heard was crickets in return. So that was probably about the longest drive I've ever taken from Ironton to Jackson. Later on, she told me that she was just scared, that she felt the same way, but she just couldn't say it at the time. But it was a lonely, long ride home to Jackson. I may tell you more about that start of our relationship later, but for now, let's go and wander through the gorge of Old Man's Cave. Look at God's beauty. So we'll continue on. Okay, so we stay down here at the bottom in the gorge, and this is just a wonderful trail that they've made. A lot of new bridges over the years that I've been here. I believe this is the Black Hand Sandstone that forms this. This goes all through the area of Hocking Hills, and even I believe as far south as I live in Jackson, Ohio. I guess that's southwest. Lake Catherine Nature Preserve, I believe, is formed with some of this Black Hand Sandstone. You can see water trickling down over there, and I hear a mower, I believe, maybe a weed eater, something like that. So the Devil's Bathtub, and we'll continue on down the trail. I consider this trail a fairly easy trail. When you get out of it, there's quite a few steps to climb up. But just being down close to the creek, it's not bad. It's fairly flat and well maintained. We'll go down here to the creek and look up this way a little bit, cross over on these rocks. And you can see the water coming down right after the Devil's Bathtub. You see how things have eroded, little caves, little holes in the rock. I'm not sure of the height of the gorge or the depth of the gorge. I'm guessing that's at least 50 foot above to the ridge rim. and always a little cooler down here in the summer. Even when it's hot outside, it's comfortable, very comfortable down here on the Old Man's Cave Trail. So let me continue a little story about Mary Catherine and myself. We met under God's plan, I'm sure. She was going to Rio Grande in nursing and found out she had a tumor in her lung. So she had to take off a year to get that taken care of. I went to Capital University, graduated, but didn't know what I really wanted to do. Thought I wanted to teach as my career, so I went to Rio Grande College to get my teaching certificate. Mary Catherine was in nursing class with my sister and with her roommate Jewel, who I knew from Jackson High School, and they introduced us. So normally if we'd been on this track that we should have been, we would never have met, but I believe that was God's doing. God's plan was for us to be together, and by each of us taking an additional year to finish our degree, that's what happened. This is a very unique bridge here. Pretty cool. And stop here so you can see it a little bit better. Having a little trouble with the GoPro harness, pointing the camera down, but trying the best to get good views for you to see. You gotta watch your small child. If you're letting them walk on their own, I'd suggest carrying them if they're really small on this, since there's really no handrails. We cross over the creek several times on this trail, which really increases the views that you get that you wouldn't get if you just stayed on one thing. And you can see up there, I hope you can with the GoPro, is a bridge that goes, I believe you're not far from the visitor center or the gift shop, and you can go over to the top of the ridge. And we continue down the gorge trail. It's nice in the spring because you get a lot of water that's running along these trails. A lot of little waterfalls, and bigger waterfalls have more volume. Also good after a winter melt, snow melt. I have a video going on Cedar Falls Trail when it was still full of ice on the trail. A little treacherous. Made it through, or I wouldn't be here today giving you this video, but I would advise to wait until you know the ice is clear in the wintertime. So we're approaching Old Man's Cave. It's not really a true cave, it's where rock has fallen and made quite an indentation into the cliff. But it's the namesake of this area, this trail. And probably the most popular trail here in Hocking Hills. We'll go over to Old Man's Cave, take a look at that, and then back down so we can go to the lower falls. You can look up there and see the water cascading down. So here we have a tunnel that we get to go through. This is always wet and a little muddy. I know my girls really liked this when they were little. Probably still like it now. Okay, so to the right is Old Man's Cave, and like I said, we'll do that. And continuing on goes to Lower Falls. So let's go to Old Man's Cave first. This is also an exit out. If you want to kind of go half the trail, not all the way to the Lower Falls and then out. And here you can see the Old Man's Cave area. All right, me once again, just getting the perspective of where I'm at in Old Man's Cave. So we'll turn this around. And back out a little bit. And we'll go to Old Man's Cave area. It's a pretty cool entrance to get to Old Man's Cave. And you can see down here the rocks that had caved in. I don't know how many years ago that was. Morning. More of the rock fall right here. And here's our vantage point from this height here. Old Man's Cave looking down into the gorge. It's beautiful. I'm telling you this earlier, I've seen one runner and one other hiker. This gets very crowded during the day, especially when the day is going to be close to 80 like today. This is a Friday, so it's a work day for some, most I guess. But tomorrow is Saturday. Parking will be at a premium. Okay, we'll go back down and go to Lower Falls. So somewhere here there's a sign, and I believe her name is Grandma Atwood. I'll have to look that up, but you can do that, search that. And she was instrumental in hiking this way back when, and I believe instrumental in really getting this trail started. Not actually making it, but just getting the Hocking Hills area well known. And forgive me if I got any of that story wrong, because it's been a while since I've read the sign and the information on it. So we'll go back over the little bridge. And take a right to Lower Falls. Once again, looking up at Old Man's Cave, and the water coming down the rocks. This morning I'm starting to hear some birds. All right, here we're going through some drips of water, and I hope you can see it on the camera. Just drops coming down through the rocks above. Nothing like being out in nature on a crisp spring morning. Trail is muddy down here. Not bad though. The shoes are gripping pretty good. So here you can see the water coming down. That's going to what will be Lower Falls when we get down there. It's coming over the edge, and that makes the Lower Falls. So now we go back up before we go back down. This trail tends to have concrete steps compared to some of the others that just pretty much have steps made out of rocks cemented together, or steps cut into rocks. The lower trail's still not handicap accessible, of course. The best trail for that is Ash Cave, which is all paved and flat. Got slipped a little on some sandy spot on the step. You can see down there, you can't really see the falls yet, but you can see where we're going, and that's right in front of the falls. Blue blazes on this trail, light blue. Red was back on Cantwell Cliffs. A friend of mine that I work with, when he read the title of that video, thought it said Cartwell Cliffs. If you have a chance to watch it, first of all, I can't do a cartwheel, never could, and there's no way you'd want to do one on that trail. There's the blue blazes on the tree. So on Cantwell Cliffs, all the stay on trail one-way signs were half a sign or less. And here, even though we got some that are bent and dented, the signs are intact. And a lot of that is there's a lot more traffic on this trail, so people up to Shenanigans would be more visible. We'll get a view of the lower falls from down here. After that, I'll show you where we could go on to Whispering Falls, but today we won't, and we'll just go back up towards the visitor center. Here we are at the lower falls with the Pocket 2 out, so I can zoom in a little bit on it. Very pretty. I like how it cascades down a couple times, hits a ledge, and then comes on down. Look around here a little bit, and there's another bridge that we're going to go over. And I was talking about Whispering Cave, but I see, no, those are benches. I thought maybe it was blocked off. But down this way, Hemlock Bridge Trail, and that is a cool bridge. It's a rope bridge that you go across, and then you go another maybe half a mile after that bridge to Whispering Cave. You walk along the creek side there. You'll turn the GoPro back on, and Pocket 2 is in hand. Trying to turn the GoPro off, use Pocket 2, get it out of my pocket, and not have such a wonky little video like I had looking at me getting the Pocket out of my pocket. So hopefully I'm making these videos a little bit more aesthetically enjoyable for you. But these videos do nothing for the beauty out here. Can't capture it on film. So you really need to see how far away you are and what kind of trip it would take, whether it's a day trip or there's plenty of places to stay in the area. Bed and breakfasts, cabins. There's a lodge here. I believe the lodge has cabins. But make this trip. Several trails to see, to hike, from relatively easy, very easy I think, like Ash Cave, to the difficult, which would probably be Cantwell Cliffs. But worth the trip wherever you're from. I know people from many states come here, and I can't quite get the wording right, but I believe it was I live in Jackson, which just took me about an hour to get here. I believe it's in Meet Me in St. Louis, where Judy Garland talks about the World's Fair and says, and just think it's in our own backyard, something similar to that. And that's what I feel about this. I'm very lucky to live this close to such a beauty. So we'll get the Pocket 2 out. And it looks like it's following, so I'm gonna have to change that. Okay, so there we go with the lower waterfalls. So cool. You shouldn't swim in this, shouldn't get in this. Plenty of people do. But they really discourage that. And this waterfall isn't as crowded as the upper falls, so this is a good place just to sit and enjoy this beauty. Okay, we're gonna take and start heading out. I really thought about going to Whispering Falls, but my bladder told me different. Might be too much information for you, but that is a long hike, especially once you see Whispering Falls. It's a long hike back to the parking area. So now we have a pretty big climb up to the parking area. Lots and lots of steps. Sure, I'll be panning, huffing and puffing by the time I get to the top of these. Turn around, gives me a little respite. You can see where we came from. We're walking under the ledge, and then we have some metal stairs to go up. Metal and wood. long way up. There's a pretty good gap between some of these rock steps. Then we go up a lot of steps to the top. Even though it's dark, I'll leave the GoPro on until we get up to the top. Sorry for the heavy breathing, just not in shape yet. So here we are at the top. And we just walked to the parking lot after this. So I hope you've enjoyed this little hike with me through Old Man's Cave Trail, and that the personal information wasn't too much. But this trail does have special meaning for me and Mary Catherine. And like I said before, a few times, get out here and enjoy this yourself. Like I said, the morning is the best time because crowds are down. But anytime you get out into nature this beautiful is a good time. So until we meet again on another video, enjoy the weekend and get outside.